Hey y'all, this is Rita.
Hey, this is Deandra, and you are now listening to
Coffee, Heels, and Conversation podcast.
So Grab Your Coffee and listen in. Hey, y'all. Hey, how
What's
y'all
up, y'all?
be? Welcome back to another episode of the pod. We are so happy you are here with us.
Yes.
Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode this week. Before we get into the episode, let's go ahead with the church announcements. Rita, what are you drinking today?
Today I used the Dunkin' Donuts caramel flavor coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I put a couple of spoons of hot chocolate in it.
Ooh.
I put some oat milk creamer, and I had to make it a little spicy, so I put some Baileys in it, and it's good.
Okay, that sounds really good. I went back to my roots of regular coffee today. So I got my cinnamon vanilla, which I haven't had for a while, so I was happy to bring that back. Cinnamon vanilla with I don't have any oat milk creamer, so I had to settle for regular creamer, regular French vanilla.
Oh, the shame.
So I know, right? I told you it was regular, back to the roots. So regular cinnamon vanilla and regular French vanilla creamer. It's all right. It is what it is.
You do not sound excited about that at all.
I'm not. Maybe next cup of coffee I'll be excited, but I'm not excited about this one at all. But
y'all can send us some suggestions.
Hello? Yes, please do. All right. But Rita, what are we talking about today?
So I was having a moment today in my car and was just thinking about, I feel like I'm in a space of my life where I'm fully myself. And I started to think about the journey to getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to talk about the journey to getting to be yourself.
All right.
And the freedom that comes with it. Okay. Because when I tell you there is freedom in being who you are, there is freedom in being who you are. Okay.
All right. So how did you get to where you got? How did you get to being yourself?
It has been a journey because so we'll start from me just having honestly spending most I've shared in several episodes. Recently I spent a lot of my life not being myself.
Mm-hmm.
Being what I was either taught that I had to be, or being what I felt like I was supposed to be, or being what I feel like people wanted me to be.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, like, you don't always know who you are, especially when you're young. You don't know who you are. You're learning and you're growing. And so, when we're young, we take so much information, especially like for me, I grew up in church. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking the information I'm getting from church, taking the information from my parents, taking the information from school, and whatever other things I'm around, mm-hmm. and use that to form who I was at the time or what have you. Right. As I've grown, I've noticed that there's some remnants of who I am today that were there when I was little, but I didn't know. When you're a kid, you don't know. You really don't know. Mm-hmm. And for me, and I'll break it down a few ways. So for me, let's say with religion, right? Like growing up in church, there are certain teachings that I internalized that more than likely weren't meant to be internalized the way that I did, but also I was a child. I didn't know that's what I knew to do with it, right? Because I think sometimes, especially when it comes to like church and religion, people are very sensitive about that, which I understand. And so people tend to want to blame the person. Oh, well, that's you took that on. You internalized that, but I was also a child. Mm-hmm. So you can't blame the child for receiving the information how they receive it, right? Right. Because I joke with my mom to this day. I'll tell her, like, we were at church so much when I was little. She literally could have had me at the church building. Okay, that's how much we was in church. It was like Monday through Friday, like Sunday through Friday, should I say? And so, for instance, for me, I internalized the teaching about you're nothing without God to mean that I am nothing.
Okay.
Couple that with my parents trying to instill confidence in me, but having a hard time doing so because they also struggle with their confidence. So all around was like, okay, I'm worthless. I'm nothing. And that's what my self-esteem was like. And so I do see, like when I look back, I'm thankful for the way that God protected me because there's certain things that could have happened to me that I'm grateful that didn't. But I didn't know who I was. So I was like, I didn't know who I was. didn't feel like I was worthy. So the other thing that I internalized is like, okay, in order to be worth something, you have to give, you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started to grow and get older, I was very involved in church, very involved with more, didn't really get involved with much at school because like for me, church was life.
Mm-hmm.
Church was everything. And like how I mentioned in a previous episode that I would have developed my friendships outside of the church more. And that's
Right.
what I mean, because I didn't really get involved that much at school. Like I was in a little things in high school, but I didn't really get involved that much, especially like I didn't. And so it was hard for me to separate like who I am as a person from church. It's like everything was the church.
Right.
And on top of that, the home I was raised in. And so it's coupled with like a lot of fear and all of this stuff that's been in me because of church and because of how I was raised, right? So in terms of me actually like starting the journey of becoming myself, because I spent a lot of time people pleasing, and I spent a lot of time just being very very busy at church because I felt like that was a way to get worth and to
Mm-hmm.
get love and all of that
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have it within myself, and so because you start things. One thing I realized is you'll start doing things from a good place, but your trauma will attach itself to it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened with me. And so I started to people please. I also was very passive aggressive because there was a time, like I mentioned before, there was a time in my life where I was popping off on people because I was very like, the example I had at home with in terms of like how to deal with anger and things like that. So I took that in too, and so I would go off on people. When I tell y'all, it did not matter who you are. You could be my manager. If I felt like you was coming at me, I was gonna go off. Okay. People who know me now, who work with me now, it's like y'all don't even understand. I would not have a job if
Right.
I was the way that I was back then. So anyway, so I was doing all this stuff because I didn't have worth in myself. I didn't have confidence in myself and, different things that I've been through, whatever. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember I had come to this point, and it was in my 20s, I think it was. I had come to this point where it was just like, you know what, this is not working.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling me all this stuff about God, and I'm not seeing it in my life. I feel like I'm lost. I feel like I don't know who I am. So I literally had this moment of praying in the parking lot of the grocery store across the street from my parents' house. Lord, show me myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew I didn't know. It was to the point where I was asking other people. My friends could
Mm-hmm.
testify today. I was asking them who I was because I didn't know.
Wow. Wow.
And so, I mean, it makes sense to ask the person that made you who you were, right? That makes sense. So finally, I did that. And it's so interesting because I feel like God does do things in a certain time
Mm-hmm.
because I have prayed that prayer before.
Right.
But there's something about literally 10 years ago in February of 2013 where I was like I said, in the parking lot, and I asked God to show me myself. And when I tell you, God was like, bet. So it started off by, because I was already kind of going through some stuff. Like I was trying to get into this school. Well, I was in the school. Like I was doing it online, but I was in the school trying to get my second master's or whatever because I wanted to be a therapist or a counselor. And I'm thankful that I didn't finish because I would not want to be affiliated with that school with the things that I feel now. Look at God. Anyway, so so that like in 20, like the end of 2012, beginning of 2013, stuff started happening with my health and like with school. So like I couldn't finish school because I had to like, I was on probation because I was not doing my stuff right and all the things. And so that happened. And then, I prayed that prayer in February. And then April, I get fired. And so I had a lot of time on my hands. So thankfully, like I delved into spending time with God and the word more and doing things and serving more, whatever, or what have you. And that's kind of what started me on the journey of discovering who I was and the journey of like me starting to like heal from different things and seeing things for what it was. Because, when you grow up, you think that what you're going through and what you're dealing with, what you see, you think is normal. And then you
Mm-hmm.
realize that wasn't good or healthy or normal for you.
Right.
And this is how it affected you. So like it was like I would have when I tell you I was having so many revelations about who I am, um, the things that I've been through. My mom would say stuff about like my childhood. I'm like, oh, okay. So like it kind of started like that process. So like I literally was unemployed for a year. So that's a whole year of me having time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like God used that time to like help me to see stuff and help me to see myself. So over those years, like I started to like see myself more, even though I was still passive aggressive, I was still people pleasing. Like I started to see more of who I was, right? I started to see like, okay, wait, I got to work on this. I have to work on this. I was working on myself and things like that. So like I had different things happen over that time where I started to grow more in confidence and I started to grow more into the Doretha that's here now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's other layers of that because like especially with me, when in terms of the things that I'm dealing with my faith now, it's like I'm shedding some of that stuff too because some of that wasn't healthy or good or what have
Right.
you, especially with how I internalize things and how I understood things to be, and even some of the things that were taught to me or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I think, so that was like 2013 through, I say, 2017 ish, right? So that span of years, right? Just the different things I was going through, whatever. I was starting to like see myself more, starting to grow. Then I had a really big, well, not big, but I had like a friend breakup in like 2018, 19-ish, or what have
Mm-hmm.
you. And that was the first time in my life where I felt after that happened, it was like, I felt like myself. Because in that friendship, some of it was not healthy. Like I relied on her more than I should have.
Mm-hmm.
I should have really been relying on God more and relying on other people. And so it was not the healthiest friendship. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like the healthiest friendship for me. But as I was growing, I was starting to speak out about things more because I would never speak out. I would never say anything to anybody. I would be passive aggressive, but I wouldn't like say outright what my issues were. But I
Mm-hmm.
started to say things. I started to like be more vocal and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that that's what shifted the relationship. It was like I was starting to see stuff in her. I was like, oh no, 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 this is not, this ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was continuing on that course. So once that friendship ended, I literally felt like, oh my gosh, like I found myself. Like I found Doretha. And that was about 2018, 2019. In that 2018, I also left my home church
Mm-hmm.
because there was some stuff that I was just like struggling with. Like my uncles had died. It was a whole bunch of stuff in 2018. And so
Right.
that shifted me to like, okay. So because I think too, getting away from the environment that you grew up in
Mm-hmm.
sometimes is necessary in order to find out who you truly are because you're playing a role sometimes a lot of the times you're playing a role of this is what I'm supposed to do in this family, this is what I'm supposed to do with this church, this is what I'm supposed to do in whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you take away those things you start to be like, okay, you're flailing because that's what I feel like I'd be doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But it's like, oh, you start to settle in and realize who you are, right? And especially the more time, like for me, so me leaving my home church, having that friendship, and after that, moving out of my parents' house in like 2019, which is like the sequence of events that kind of like sped up where I am today. I was like,
Right.
oh, okay. I'm really learning who I am now, and I'm really having these experiences, and I'm really like just not just sitting here because that's the other thing. Like I sat a lot of times just like basically letting life pass me by because I was taught to like there's certain things I was taught to wait for, not realizing that girl waiting. First of all, waiting is active. So I'm gonna tell y'all now. If you feel like you're waiting for something, waiting is active. Do something. Live your
Mm-hmm.
life. Like the job ain't gonna fall in my lap. I gotta go. Like I was unemployed for a year, yes, but girl, when I tell you I was interviewing
Mm-hmm.
and applying, so it's like you have to do stuff when you're waiting. So even with like, for instance, especially on like the single Christian side, oh, you gotta wait for your mate. You need to be out here.
Right.
He ain't gonna just pop up in my house. I mean, he could, but he ain't gonna pop out in my house. I have to be outside
Right.
if that's even what I want, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that the latest instance of me becoming fully who I am was, like I said, the friendship ending, me moving out, and having issues with my roommate and having issues at work really made me like, hold on. So I can't be the Doretha that pops off at people.
Right.
And I cannot be the Doretha that's passive aggressive. Something's got to give.
Right.
So the more I worked on myself, the more I started to realize, wait, I actually can communicate what I'm feeling without being rude, passive aggressive, any of that. I can actually say, this is how I feel in the
Mm-hmm.
situation. So I had like, it was weird because I think it was 2019. I had like something happen at work. No, it was 2020. I had something that happened at work, something that happened with my roommate at the time, and then all the stuff that happened in 2020 with like the social justice issues, right?
Right.
When I tell you I came out with guns slinging that year, if you think you knew Doretha before, let me reintroduce myself. Because I started to be more vocal about things because I wouldn't really be vocal like that. I would have my own thoughts, but I wouldn't really share them. I started to be more vocal. And I got some pushback from some people, and that's whatever. But like I started to like be more vocal, even with my parents. Like I would set more boundaries with them. Like I was coming into this is who I am. Like if you cannot respect my boundaries, it does not matter who you are not here.
Right.
Because if I'm telling you this is harming me and you continue to do it, that's not loving me. And I'm doing that for my protection.
Mm-hmm.
And because I still do have an attitude problem, sometimes for yours. Because I may not pop off the way that I used to, but I do have a tude, okay?
Right. Right.
I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't gonna lie. So I feel like, and then moving into my own place really is what, oh, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one of my old mentors told me, she's like, I think that you need to live by yourself. Like you need to have a time in your life where you live by yourself. And when I tell you she was right, because it really is what helped me to become myself. The last thing is me early last year, and I've mentioned this before, when I wanted to kill myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because it came from a place of I was seeing the changes in me. There's certain things I wasn't understanding and I wasn't liking about what I saw in myself.
Right.
And because I wasn't the compliant Doretha that does everything everybody wants her to do, I wasn't the super spiritual Doretha that does everything off of the Christian to-do list. I wasn't that Doretha.
Mm-hmm.
But I missed that Doretha because this one, I'm like, girl, you just be saying stuff. We didn't used to do this. What are you doing?
Right.
What is happening? To the point where I was like falling into things that I didn't necessarily like falling into, or what have you. So I remember having this night of just like crying and just being like, I don't like this. I feel like I can't get right. I need to be out of here. And that propelled me into the healing journey of 2022 because the healing that I did before, it was great and it was necessary, but like it's what got me here. But this is some deep healing to where I'm seeing how my childhood trauma and my stuff at church is so tied in together
Right.
and trying to break apart. So I wanting to hold on to my faith in God, but having to break apart the religion that caused me to want to kill myself. So in my head, religion almost killed me. So I need to be out here actually being myself and living my life and just living and not sitting up here trying to fit into this box because I don't fit. God's not in the box and neither am I. But this is the stuff that's the most recent iteration of myself. It's literally because I wanted to die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, this can't be what God wants for me. He
Right.
cannot want me to be so tied to this version of myself that I'm not who he intended me to be from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I have flaws and do I have things I need to work through? Yes, we all do. But this iteration of myself, I feel like this is the person that God created me to be from Jump Street. Because when I started to really reflect, girl, you low key always been that one to say stuff. It wasn't always
Mm-hmm.
healthy. Some of it came from insecurity and people pleasing, but you have been that one that will say things.
Right.
Let's be assertive and not aggressive or passive aggressive. So I'm a lot more, I will say what I need to say, but I'll do it kindly. It'll be assertive, which is nothing wrong with being assertive. We need to be assertive. That's the healthy part. Do
Mm-hmm.
I have my moments? Yes, because people be trying your girl out here, okay? But but these are the things that like led me to be who I am. So I literally stand 10 toes down in it because I almost like in my mind it's like, dude, I almost was out of here. I was almost out of here. So my healing, my deconstruction, my healing from my childhood stuff, my general healing, I'm literally fighting for my life. And that's how I became this iteration of myself, guys.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Thanks for listening. I know that was, a lot. So what about you, girl?
Oh, girl. All right. Well, I think this is something that I'm still currently like in the midst of, like still becoming me and being comfortable with me. But I will say like you, I grew up in the church. Was definitely in church 7 days a week, 24
Girl.
to 28 hours a day, like sleep sleeping at church.
Girl. Okay.
Like, so definitely grew up like that as well. So there are things that I probably have internalized, like definitely for me, probably turn the other cheek. Like that's probably been something that I've always
Mm-hmm.
internalized because I'm like, that has, if I think about it more now, that's probably a part of the reason why I'm so slow to like sometimes react to somebody because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to, you gotta
Mm-hmm.
just take it with grace
Yeah.
but then there's sometimes where I'm just not that person at all and I'm like, you tried it and we gonna have words. But as far as becoming me, for me, a lot of it is rooted in having low self-esteem when I was younger. I
Mm-hmm.
did have my parents who definitely like were very vocal about, you're beautiful, God made you beautiful, you're unique,
Mm-hmm.
you're this, you're that, very like affirming, but it was not saying that they obviously did their part of being affirming. But being in school
Mm-hmm.
where that is constantly um
Yeah.
people are saying the opposite of that in school, which is 8 hours a day. And then I
Yeah.
wasn't always, and even in that, I wasn't always open with my parents of telling them how much I was being bullied. Like, not until I
Mm-hmm.
really got older that I really shared what I really experienced in school. And I don't know why I didn't say anything. I think I was more like, it's probably what everybody goes through. Or I was just like embarrassed or whatever. Like, I'm not really sure what the reason of not sharing it,
Mm-hmm.
not sharing
Yeah.
the true extent of it was because like even when I got to mom was like, you didn't tell me that, like I didn't know that, and I'm like, really? I thought I said that. No, you didn't. You didn't say that. So but that really affected my self-esteem because like even to the
Mm-hmm.
point where somebody could be laughing and I automatically assumed they was laughing at me,
Mm.
and they were just laughing. Like they could be laughing at their friend, and I'm like, oh, they're laughing at me. And I'm in my mind, I'm going through a checklist of like, what do I have on? Is something ripped? Is something dirty? Are they like laughing at my clothes or anything like that? So that really affected me, definitely up until college,
Oh
which was
wow.
not that long ago. Really, well, no, now it has been a while. But up until college, that affected me. And then one day I was in school. I went away for like a year. And then
Mm.
I was kind of like going away. You see everybody, like everybody from
Yeah.
everywhere and different type of people who grew up completely differently than you, people who
Yeah.
are like just everything about them is different. You know what I mean? And there was girls that I'm like, oh, she has so much confidence. Oh, she's so pretty. Look at her. Oh, look, her outfit is so cute. And I'm like admiring all these people. And I'm like, why can't I feel like that about me? So I
Yeah.
also had a prayer, and I remember praying it in college, and I was like, God, please allow me to see myself the way you see me and to
That's
like what
good.
I see.
That's
And
good.
I thank you. I prayed that I didn't think much of it because I was just like, I didn't want to constantly feel so down on myself. Like even when because
Yeah.
in college is different too because you have people who do try to affirm you as well. Like, oh, you look cute today, and you're like, oh, no, I don't. Like I can tell you
Yeah.
15 reasons why I don't look cute. Let me tell you. Let me start. Let me list them. And they're like, girl, no, they're not even concerned about
Yeah.
that. So you think you can't take a compliment. But so for me, my main thing was my self-esteem because that
Mm-hmm.
really drove a lot of my life and a lot of
Yeah.
my actions as well, because I feel like, because I already feel this way about me. If somebody's showing something opposite, I have
Yeah.
to make sure they still like me, because they can turn and they cannot like me. And I have to like give away all my lunch. Not that they ask for it, but that I want them to know that I am a nice person and they could be my friend. And you know what I mean? Like all, like it
Yeah.
just drove everything. So anyway, after praying that prayer, I feel like it was not really instantaneous, but quickly I started to have just the
Yeah.
confidence, like the confidence to be like, oh, you look really pretty today. Like maybe you don't feel like that every day, but today you look really pretty. Oh, well, your hair looks good today. I like your outfit that you put together. Like just like having this confidence that obviously I know came from God, because it was like, I don't want you to feel
Yeah.
like, you know, that what people say about you is true or whatever. So that was really my turning point, was when I prayed that prayer in college. And then going to the other school that I actually graduated from, just fully being myself. I have a big personality. I can probably talk, I can talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah.
I can find something, and now every time I see you, you say hey to me because I told you I like your sneakers. Like, oh, I like your shirt. Oh, girl, your hair is cute. And I'm very like dramatic. Even now, I'm dramatic with my compliments. Like, just prime example, I was in the store last week and this girl had a curly red afro and it was big. And I said, girl, your hair, continue to do that. It's amazing. And I laughed, and the girl was like, I can hear her laughing even while I was leaving. And she said, thank you. She said, oh my God, thank you. And she stood there laughing to the point where everybody was laughing. All the people who worked there were like, oh, that was so funny. Like, that was such a cute compliment. Da, da, da. And then I was like, and I'm like, but that's literally my personality. Like, I would just, like, I don't know how to be, you look nice. I'd be like, come on, outfit. Like, yes.
Black people be compliment real good, okay?
Right. But like, I feel like a part of that started at college. Like I would be like, "Oh, girl, dope shoes, yes," and that's the part of my personality. So then that becomes like it. When I'm genuinely myself, I can probably just not even saying that we're friends, but just to be like, "Hey, how are you? You look cute today." Like that's my personality, and so it feels good to be able to be that person. That's like, everybody's like, "Hey, how are you?" Me being able to talk to everybody has gotten me in trouble at work. Because they're like, what are you doing?
Girl, the way I feel you on that.
Like, you have been talking to so-and-so for like 10 minutes. What? You need to be over here. And then I go back to my station and somebody else comes, hey girl, let me tell you about what happened this weekend. I'm like, what? Why?
But you do your job, don't you? You do your job, don't you? I'm saying, they don't understand. I do my job. I just talk.
I can talk. I still do my job.
Multitasking.
But I love that. Like, it helps me. I think that part of my personality helps with my confidence and my self-esteem, because that's who I am. I don't mind talking to people about anything. Like, I probably say this story a lot, but one of my best friends, I met her over a fork. Now, mind you, with this particular best friend, I did not want to ask her. I did not want to ask her about the fork. So, quick backstory with me and this friend. We was at like college orientation, and the only thing open after the classes or something like that was Chinese food. So a bunch of students that went down got Chinese food. I went down maybe 30 minutes after her, but I didn't see her there. Everybody was in the lobby eating their food. So I remember what I got. I got pepper steak and fried rice. And they did not give me a fork. So I was looking over and I see she was sitting there and she had Chinese food too. So the person I was with, they didn't have an extra fork. So they was like, well, go ask her. She has Chinese food as well. So I was like, she looked mean. I'm not asking her nothing.
Nah, she looked mean.
I was like, she looked mean. I'm not asking her nothing. So they were like, go, just ask her real quick. The worst that she could say is no. So I was like, oh, all right, go over there. Hi, excuse me. Sorry to bother you. Do you have a fork? And she was like, oh no, I'm sorry. I don't. And I was like, okay, thank you. And I walked away. After that from that day on, we are now best friends. So when I say I will probably
Over
talk to
fork?
anybody about anything, a fork. The least of my worries.
Well, actually, it
So,
was not the least because you needed to eat your food. Hello?
hello? I mean, I did get my fork, but it just didn't come from her, but okay. But I got a friend out of it, so it's a fork, so fine.
Hello?
But but so anyway, that's just some of the things that helped me get to where I am now. Now I do have my days where I'm not as confident as I would like to be, but
Yeah.
it's not as bad as it was back in high school or middle school. You know, it's not as like, oh, I'm just so horrible. You know, like it's not spilling into every aspect of my life. It's just
Yeah.
like maybe one day I'm just like, I ain't feeling it today, but tomorrow I will be. I'll be okay. So that has helped me to just like, you know, to just be confident in different environments like work, school, even now going into this career. Like I am confident about it because I know that there's a reason why I'm going into this field. But of course, there are other parts of me that's like a little nervous, but that's more like just, you know, more nerves geared to the position itself, not anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not insecure about who I am in this position.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, that's kind of how I got to where I was. It was mainly a lot of the stuff happened in college. I was just
That's good.
I had to change, and then what helped also were the people who were around me, the people that I've connected with in college were confident people. Like they were just, and it wasn't on. I didn't connect with them because I knew they were confident. We just got along because of different aspects. But then watching them in college, they were confident people. They were secure on who they were, and maybe they weren't. But my perception of them and the way that they carried themselves, they were confident in who they were. They were confident if they were in slides and sweatpants, and they were confident if they was in a whole extravagant outfit. You know what I mean? Like that was just who they were. So it's like sometimes you can't hang out with people and your head is down and all their heads are up. Because they're going to check you.
They will definitely,
hello, pick your head up. What's happening? So that's how I got to where.
That's good. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Of course.
Appreciate that. I do think you made me a couple of things come to my mind, like because I feel like it is important the people that you connect with and that you surround yourself with as your friends, because it's so interesting because like my friend group now is like amazing, okay? And like some of them have been with me for like throughout this whole journey. So they're just be like, this is who they saw in me, but I didn't see it in myself.
Right. Yeah.
One of my friends be like, it's almost, she doesn't say this, but it's almost like finally this girl is who she was supposed to be this whole time.
Right. Yeah.
But also, I also relate is that at work I get in trouble because I be talking. I just be talking. I try to be quiet. I try to be sitting in my office. And then I'll be like, oh, a thought will pop in my head. I will go find my friend or my friend will come and I'll be like, hey girl, come here. It's like, Teresa. But like I do have I'm introverted, but I also like have a personality where people like talk to me and I talk to them and all that stuff like that. But I be girl, since honestly, this is not the first job that it happened at. It was like it's when I worked at Kaiser back in the early 2000s. The manager would literally be like, Doretha. So, and it's funny because like I wasn't the one, because it's so funny. My manager asked me one day, did you always get in trouble at school for talking? And no, I did not. I didn't say anything. When I tell you I was scared when I was a kid, I was the weirdest child. I was scared of everything. No. And maybe I'm making up for the lost time. Because it's who I was supposed to be. But I think the thing of it is, I think it's a forever journey.
Yeah.
In terms of becoming, you know,
for sure.
Like Michelle Obama, it's a forever journey. Like it's something that there's going to be different iterations of yourself. We're always going to have blind spots, but I think it's about getting on that journey and like doing the work that you need to do in order to get there. Because it's like you got to work through your trauma. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to work through your stuff because it's literally the only way. And I thank God that He answered that prayer. And I feel like I did be like, dang, you like been asking this prayer for a long time. Like, can I get a break?
I'm done.
Like, sir, God, like, come on.
I'm done.
Okay, I get it.
So, you know what we're gonna ask. how about y'all go into the comments and
Yes.
share with us, how did you get to where you are now? Of course, we all know that we all have some ways to go, but how
Mm-hmm.
did you get to where you are now? Don't be afraid to share that in the comments. You can follow me at Deandra.Monique. You can follow the pod at coffeehills_convo pod. Rita?
You can follow me at Read the Author on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.
Yes.
And also, like I said in last episode, in order for us to grow in the podcast land, we need you guys to really rate and review and comment and share and all that stuff and follow us, on whatever platform you listen to us on so that we can grow. And say you can hit us with that 5 because you come back here every week. You enjoy the things that we say and the silliness that is me. So I'm just saying, I'm the silly one if you haven't noticed.
I'm
So yeah.
dead. All right. And we will, of course, see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.